LT, as he's affectionately referred to. I guess he was like heckling Bam Bam Bigelow as he was coming out of the ring, or it was after the match or some shit. And Bigelow proceeded to get into LT's face and shove him. As though that, because that's fucking normal. I go to a live sporting event, I start heckling somebody, athlete gets in my face and shoves me. Yeah, that's totally normal, right? So, instead of pressing charges against the WWE or WWF at the time, or suing Bam Bam Bigelow or whatever, instead of like the WWE, firing Bam Bam Bigelow for attacking a person, attacking what in this case is a fan, doesn't matter if they're a celebrity, they're not a fucking athlete, you don't put your hands on them, they're not involved in the fucking show, right? Wink, wink. Um, Instead of that, LT trains with Big Daddy Cool Diesel to wrestle fucking Bam Bam Bigelow at WrestleMania 11. Yeah, okay, so I'm guessing, I didn't see it myself, but from what I've seen of it or read about it, it seems like it was much the same thing. Some reason Stardust got into Mel's face and they got physical or something on some random episode of Raw. So of course Mel's got to get his revenge like any normal fucking person would, instead of calling the cops or something or anything like that. They run out to the ring and he starts beating him up or something. So um, they end up getting into this feud, and it's gonna pay off at SummerSlam. And he teams up. It's like a tag team match. It's Stardust and King Barrett versus Stephen Amell and this guy named Neville, I think it is. And this guy, Neville, he ironically, I guess, in a cutesy coincidence, he has a signature move called the Red Arrow. So, and of course, Mr. Ramel and Neville, they go over Stardust and King Barrett. Just like, and it's further confirming here that Green Arrow, Stephen Amell, is the fucking circa 2002 Triple H of the DC Universe. So just like Green Arrow went over to the Flash, he went over, crossed over into another show, took down fucking squash match, took down fucking the main event heel of Flash, Reverse Flash, fucking squash match, went over Reverse Flash like nothing. Now Green Arrow is crossing over into other TV genres in fucking going over fucking Stardust, an actual wrestler. This guy's a celebrity and he goes over a fucking wrestler, a trained wrestler. Like I said, circa 2002 Triple H of the DC Universe. And we get it, guys. I mean, he's a stand-in for fucking Batman. Batman's a fucking god. So, I guess that must also mean Green Arrow's a fucking god. You can just go and just defeat anybody. Okay, anyway. So, I mean, I guess WWE in the... I mean, are the Arrowverse writers, are they fans of WWE? Because when pro wrestling's booked correctly, people who quote unquote go over other people, people who can defeat other people, it makes sense and it's logical. But when wrestling, and a lot of time WWE is guilty of this, when it's booked poorly, is when booked or written, whatever, I'm sorry if you don't know the terminology, is written poorly. You have people who defeat other wrestlers, and it doesn't make sense for them to defeat them. And that, again, that's one of the problems with Arrow Season 3 is, it does not make sense that Thea could, quote-unquote, go over Sarah. It doesn't make sense for Green Arrow to just bulldoze over fucking Reverse Flash. And then we also, spoilers, he eventually goes over Ra's al Ghul, and we'll get into the fiasco involved in that. So, yeah, I mean... And I guess Mr. Ramel, he came out to his new Green Arrow costume, because we'll get into this. He has a new costume this year, and he is referred to as Green Arrow finally, but we'll get into the whole spiel about that. So he came out with the Green Arrow costume. It's I don't know if the wrestling audience is gonna follow Mr. Ramel to season 4 of Arrow, but I advise them not, because I'm not I'm not expecting season 4 to be improvement, but whatever. It's WWE fucking wrestling. I mean, if you find that to be entertaining, you probably find fucking Arrow to be entertaining. Really, if you can define World Wrestling Entertainment as entertainment, you actually buy that it's actual entertainment and not the kind of bullshit they fucking show fucking prisoners over in Gitmo, then fine, more power to you. Then you're probably gonna fucking love Arrow. So next up we got they cast Vandal Savage, which I shit on them about the writing of Arrow, and hey, a lot of the things they get right, like whether it be the acting or the stunt choreography. Stunt choreography is awesome. I mean, even when you watch The Flash, the special effects are good for a fucking CW show. Effects are good. I mean, they get a lot of things right, but unfortunately, it's the writing that kills them. But one of the things that this show, I mean, I'll get into this later, that is just spot on is the casting all the time. And the guy they got to play Vandal Savage, awesome. So I'll give them that. So Vandal Savage, they cast Vandal Savage. So hey, I guess we're gonna get Vandal Savage and Arrow after all. Maybe I'm clairvoyant or something. I swear I did not know about that when I did that first video when I was talking about Vandal Savage. We're going to get Vandal Savage and Hawkman in episode 8 of Arrow, or it appears to be episode 8. And, hey, episode 8, does that ring a bell? So it's going to be part of yet another Arrow Flash crossover. Oh, how about that? So when that asshole from CW said, we want these Flash Arrow crossovers to be an annual event, he really did fucking mean it, now did he? It's right to the episode. It's the same exact fucking episode. It's episode 8. And actually, if you go back to season 2, episode 8 of season 2 of Arrow was when we first met Barry Allen. So really, this is like a normal fucking thing. We're just gonna arbitrarily have fucking Grant Gustin every fucking episode 8 of fucking every season of Arrow going forward. Is that what the plan is? Oh, that doesn't seem fucking forced at all. So we have, so I guess the idea is that they're going to be setting up the Legends of Tomorrow fucking mid-season replacement show that's going to be airing next year. And, yeah, I think that's all that needs to be said about that. I mean, we're getting fucking Hawkman now. I mean, Hawkman on fucking Arrow. So you can pretty much forget about fucking any sense of grounded reality bullshit on Arrow anymore. They totally fucking... They're not even trying anymore. They're fucking... Constantine and fucking demons and shit and fucking resurrection and fucking a man who dresses up like a fucking bird. We're also, I talked about this before, we're getting the Vixen web animated series. Not much to say about that other than Vixen's some kind of metahuman, and this calls the attention to Cisco and Flash, and some reason Arrow's there. And the one thing I'll say about that, and yeah, and everyone from Flash and Arrow, they're voicing their characters. All right, this is not some stupid thing where they're gonna get some other actors to fucking portray the character. Amel, Gustin, they're all fucking playing their respective characters from Flash and Arrow and stuff. And it exists in the same continuity and everything. But here's the thing. I watched the trailer for Vixen, and I'm under the impression this takes place after season 3 of Arrow, right? And I mentioned before, Arrow, Green Arrow, whatever the fuck you want to call him, is getting a new costume at the beginning of this season of Arrow, season 4. Why is it then? Maybe they'll explain this. Maybe I'm not being fair to the show here. But why is it that Arrow is still in his Arrow costume and not his Green Arrow costume from season 4? See, and this is shows you why this crossover shit does not work. Like it's a logistical fucking nightmare. It's a logistical fucking nightmare. Because you know what happened? It's obvious what happened. What happened was animation. It takes longer to produce than live action, right? You have to send it over to North Korea or some not North Korea. Go ahead. Oops. Korea somewhere, Japan somewhere over in Asia a lot of the time. It's got to be animated. It takes months and months, especially when you're doing that kind of 2D style animation. You know, you're not doing fucking South Park where you have a computer program and knock out an episode in a week. You send it over to Korea, Japan, whatever, where people can do it for cheaper than they can here. It takes months to animate an episode. So the whole thing with the Green Arrow costume, obviously, that wasn't decided, that wasn't finalized probably sometime early this summer, right? So they had to go ahead and start animation on this thing, regardless of what the fuck was happening on Arrow at the time. So that's obviously what happened. They didn't finalize the look for season 4 of Green Arrow's look for season 4 yet, and then they just had to stick to the default look. So now what you end up with is a big continuity blunder. What appears to be a continuity blunder. I will reserve judgment, but I'm pretty sure it's a fuck up. A visual fuck up. I suppose I can use my imagination and just act like he's in his Green Arrow costume or something, but anywho. We're getting a new love interest for Thea, and that guy's been cast, and okay, I don't really care. Because, I'm not the CW teeny bopper fucking target audience, so I don't particularly care about that stuff. A new love interest for Oliver has been cast, but it's only in the flashbacks. It's not in present day, to which I say thank God, because I guess now Oliver and Felicity are to quote unquote together, per se, in the present. And, really, guys, you're going to make me sift to another god-awful fucking love triangle. So, thank God, it's just in the flashbacks, and Shadow's dead, so Oliver's free to be with whoever the fuck, so, in the flashbacks, so that's not so bad. So, yeah, as I talked about, he's getting a new costume. He's also getting a new lair that looks more like fucking something out of the fucking Justice League or something. And he's getting a new costume. It looks more like the traditional Green Arrow costume. It's like sleeveless. He doesn't look like a. Because the thing about the Arrow costume, it's not very superhero-y. It's like it's more like practical, which is to say, he's supposed to fight criminals at night, and it's dark, and it's supposed to conceal his identity and stuff, and it's more of a practical costume. It's not about being all flashy, no pun intended, like the Flash's costume where he's just a straightforward, in-your-face superhero. But now he's adopting a more Green Arrow, like more comic booky superhero, more close to the comic book canon kind of costume. So yeah. I mean, I think the thing that kind of illustrates it the most, I guess, last year they had a TV Guide photo shoot with Flash and Arrow, like promoting the crossover with that we had episodes 8 of Flash and Arrow this past season, and they're doing this magazine shoot, and fucking Arrow just looks out of place. Flash looks like a superhero, right? His costume, he looks like a fucking superhero. Arrow, no. And it's because originally, again, I've talked about this, they were going for a more grounded, realistic show from the get-go. They weren't going for a superhero thing per se, And his costume reflected that. But then you took, Flash was different. Flash was embracing that it was a superhero thing. So you stick the two of them right next to each other, juxtapose them to each other, and it just looks fucking weird. Like it doesn't look right. Like the Arrow costume doesn't look right. So maybe in some way, yeah, maybe it's a good idea that they give him a new costume.